What's up, folks? Thanks for swinging by. Follow me on IGTV at Real John Toll, here on YouTube at John Toll, Twitter at John Toll as well. Of course, because of the things we are talking about, they're not going to put this into anybody's search algorithm. It barely found yours, so send it to a buddy, send it to a friend. If you love this kind of entertainment, this kind of alternate thought, alternate reality thought, then you probably were raised by Art Bell and George Norrie like I was. And so enjoy this piece of information as long as it's legal, folks. But again, like, rate, review, subscribe. PC Death Squad, Pit Boss 2000. My comedy is all on Spotify. It's all on Apple Music. Go get it, and we'll see you out in the world.
Well, why don't you want to read it, Mr. Lewandowski?
I think you should afford me the same privilege you afforded Director Mueller.
Would you like to read it?
No, you're welcome to read it.
Are you ashamed of the words that you wrote down?
President Swalwell, I'm very happy of what I've written.
In the simulation, I wanted to do a short portion, right, and break down the absolute lunacy, the unhinged questions, whether if it's lying about what page this guy's on, you're dehumanizing him, calling him a fish. I believe at one time he was referred to as a chicken. Early on in the coverage that I saw, when they said, "Oh, you took notes. You were a secretary." He just said he was a law officer or a law enforcement officer. And then the guy answering questions, demeaning to go down to that. But did they think it was going to work? I mean, it seemed like they were going, all they need is for somebody like that to slip up and they're off to the races. So more than likely, this will probably be the last time that somebody decides to, actually go in front of a fucking clown show. An absolute clown show. From the fact that they changed the rules, so where this thing, you get 5 minutes if you're sitting whatever the fuck, and then at the end, we bring in our ringer for a half hour, and then you guys can bring in whoever you want. Oh, okay, well, I was going to pick me. Nope, can't be you. It's got to be a staffer. So I can appoint anyone a staffer? Yeah, you can. And an intern? Yeah, go ahead. I think I missed it, but I think you could pick a janitor, and the janitor could come up here and grill Mr. Lewandowski for a half an hour. Yes, you're saying that guy has more power than an elected congressman inside of this Judiciary Committee. It was a sham hearing. Every single day, these people get worse, and I am more convinced that they have already stood tall before the various people and are acting like this and are purposefully tearing down the Democratic Party because to avoid jail time. That's the only way you could fucking fathom people making such awful decisions. The fucking Swalwell. So Mr. Lewandowski should have said, it sounded like Swalwell wanted to force him to read. This is how the state will run if you give away your very freedoms to allow this nanny state to become a communist totalitarian state. They will force you to say what they will force you to say. You could see it in the vitriol and how they just kept running through. And yeah, what if the fucking guy lied to Fox News? I'll tell you one thing. I think perhaps somebody, and it might have been my feed, it was somewhere his face changed a little bit when, I forget who asked him the question, but they said, "Are you lying about writing the note?" And that speaks to a long series of things that Donald Trump has paid off that never existed, has admitted to that have never existed, has added details that were just lie upon lie for things that they created. Literal works of fiction. Sources and methods. How are the sources? How are the methods? How are they getting this information? Well, let me float some fucking scuttlebutt. The walls are coming in. Whatever the fuck they were selling at the time. You don't think that fucking guy wasn't peppering fake story after fake story? telling you, Stormy Daniels, fucking fake. Outside fucking crazy theory, you're going to get Hillary, Michelle. Oh, the two-headed beast. Will be unstoppable. Except the media doesn't have enough trust from the people who are consuming it for them to be able to sell this duo as more powerful than what they've created every single day 24/7 for the last 3 years. The level of planning on what seemingly seems to be the biggest sting operation in the history of what the hell might be going on, it is fascinating. I love it. So yeah, Swalwell was embarrassing. Ted Lieu sucked again. I like Meadows. Gates doesn't bother me. I feel like between Gates and Swalwell, they're both members of the same water polo team I wouldn't watch. How about that? Fun, neat video. I've seen a couple videos that I would say go watch. Comedy Cellar, Chris DiStefano, his fucking 9/11 story is fucking great. Go watch that. And Killer Mike drops like a hard 10 minutes agreeing on some things with Candace Owen, talking about empowerment and really the fact that, when you evolve the idea of the politicians or the president, you have, they become whatever they are in your mind. Again, it's why the wall was so powerful, because people built it up like it was already built, and it was 79 miles high and had barbed wire on the top of it and dead bodies falling from it. In the worst nightmare scenario that people were creating, and the fucking hysteria in the run-up. And that's they let the enemy do all the work for them inside of it. Then they say, well, how bad, and what would you do to maintain the status quo, the power that you have, which is connected through very, very various connections to anti-American activities. Ba-doop, ba-doop, wah, wah. So, all of that will see the light of day as the New York Times story blows up, the Jim Sciutto story blows up, that they've how many bites of the Kavanaugh apple is this, and they've got nothing, but they have to. Supposedly it's a mandatory that they win the presidency to stop all the investigations, to try to get the court back, because all of a sudden you're going to have gun cases running up to a conservative court, right to life cases running up to a conservative court, voter ID, all of these things that they were hoping that their wall of activist judges would be able to help for them is now being undone by who has been brought in judges. So, wild again. The Iran thing. I mean, we're gonna get a lot more of this, and I guess God, was there anything else? Was there anything else that I thought about today, or I watched, or I wanted you to watch? No, I think that's it. I listened mostly to C-SPAN, and I watched Nadler Circus. I watched them change the rules. And, no, it's not an impeachment. It's an inquiry regarding impeachment. And then they go to the impeachment rules when it's time to make a ruling, and they go, hey, are we doing an impeachment? No. Then why are you reading from the impeachment rules, you fat fucking nerd? But to be honest, the guy was a lot fatter in the 90s when he was completely contradicting everything he's saying right now. So he looks great in comparison. I don't understand why you wear your pants at your fucking shoulders. Has anybody talked to you? Does anybody love you enough to pull you aside? Be like, Jerry, maybe some fucking mom jeans, and you ratchet them down 4, 5, 6 inches. You couldn't look any worse than Chris Christie jammed into a fucking baseball outfit with his camel toe fucking hanging out. How about that? That's it. Sushi High on Thursday. Let's see. Let's book some Colorado dates in November. Stoked. I'm going to see that I'm going to be heading out to California in November. That's going to be great. Heading to Arizona. Another Nevada trip's on the way. A lot of fun stuff here. So that's it. Keep reading. Keep studying. Keep challenging yourself and challenging your programming to not get caught in the paradigm where you're creating these enemies in your mind that are so big. In the grand scheme of power, these politicians are literally fry cooks in the grand franchise of power. All right, so they're the fry cook. That means there's a shift manager, there's an AM GM, there's a PM GM, there's an owner, there's the guy who owns the land, and there's the guy who owns the intellectual property for all of it. So where you are on all of that, we create the very prisons that we put ourselves in with our limiting beliefs when you fall into what are obvious dualities. So not all is what it seems. I still think, outside shot, the Democrats could pull this out in a week with just some information if they could figure out how to put it out without people knowing it was illegally gotten, and they may disappear Donald Trump like MH Flight 370 in the spring. I think if you were going to do anything that was going to break the minds of America, Trump disappears. It's a mystery.